Surprising even themselves, Donald Trump and his Republican rivals are turning tonight's presidential debate into a civil and detailed discussion of issues.
At the midpoint, Donald Trump even shook his head and declared, quote, "So far, I can't believe how civil it's been up here." Joining us now from the University of Miami and Coral Gables is News4JAX political reporter Kent Justice and our election correspondent Ryan Nobles. Kent, Ryan, how is this calmer debate playing out so far?
Well, certainly the thing that stood out was that it was calm. And leave it to Donald Trump, of course, to point out that it's a little bit different than it has been. The tone tonight is different than we've seen previous debates.
Yeah, you know, I tweeted during the conversation that I feel like these Republican candidates have mastered the art of overcorrection. You know, in this last debate, they just went after each other with huge insults and attacks, thinking they needed to play Donald Trump's game. There was huge pushback as a result. And so today they've come in with a much milder tone. I mean, really, the first 30 to 45 minutes of this debate was almost sleepy to a certain extent. But, you know, you saw Donald Trump try and take up that mantle as the candidate who he believes can unify the Republican Party, and he made that point pretty early on in this debate.
I think, frankly, the Republican establishment, or whatever you want to call it, should embrace what's happening. We're having millions of extra people join. We are going to beat the Democrats. We are going to beat Hillary or whoever it may be, and we're going to beat them soundly.
They love this country. And I think, Ken, what's important to point out about this is that, you know, even though it didn't really seem to work when these Republican candidates attacked Trump, they need to do something. You know, status quo is probably not enough to topple him from the first place spot in these key votes here in Florida and in Ohio.
Well, so tonight we haven't seen Ohio Governor John Kasich or Florida Senator Marco Rubio really attack Trump. We have seen a little bit of that from Ted Cruz. And tonight we heard him, as you just heard Trump do, we heard Cruz also bringing Hillary Clinton into the discussion. Here's what he had to say.
Hillary Clinton says she'll cut waste, fraud, and abuse. If only we had smarter people in Washington, that would fix the problem. You know what? That is the statement of a liberal who doesn't understand government is the problem.
They are really dangerous.
And one of the problems for Marco Rubio is that he's been trailing in the polls here in his home state in Florida. He seems to be having some moments tonight, specifically talking about Cuba and some of his comments there. He had a great kind of segment there where he said, hey, you want to see change in Cuba, it's got to come from the Cuban regime. It hasn't happened yet, but what he would take are certain things. He said Cuba could offer free elections. They could send back the political, they could do all sorts of things. So who's winning right now? Not sure. This is the Google line you should talk about. Just a minute ago, it samples who people think is winning.
Right. So we're in a Google room here, and periodically they'll put up on the screen how people across the country are reacting to the debate. And for a good portion of the debate, the majority of the participants responding are saying they're not sure. Now, I've been at many of these Google debates, and it always says that Donald Trump is winning. So that may be a good sign for some of those folks that are trying to dig into his lead.
Yeah. So for right now, here in Coral Gables, for Ryan, I'm Kent. Back to you, Tom and Joy.
Well, guys, you want to talk about reaction. I think our whole newsroom kind of looked up in awe when Donald Trump said in the middle of all this, oh, you know, by the way, Dr. Ben Carson, he's going to support me tomorrow, come out and endorse me. Are we surprised about this? The man who has stayed as far away as he can from insults is supporting the candidate who has dished out the most.
Feel disrespected by Washington.
Yeah, in personality, they're really on far ends of the spectrum, but they do share some of those same messages to the people out there who are not connected to the political establishment.
Yeah, and I think this was a tactical move by Ben Carson. I think he views Donald Trump as being the person in best position to win the nomination. And I also think that his politics line up the best with Ted Cruz, and he has a personal problem with Ted Cruz, especially what happened in Iowa when Cruz's campaign staffers were telling folks that Ben Carson was dropping out of the race when he actually wasn't. So I think it was the lesser of two evils, perhaps, for Ben Carson. He views himself as an outsider candidate, and he doesn't view Marco Rubio or John Kasich as an outsider. But to that point, you know, and it's hard, we forget about things in this campaign because so much has happened in such a short period of time. But think back to the fall when Ben Carson kind of leaped up to the top of the polls ever so briefly. Donald Trump said some really disparaging things about Ben Carson. I mean, really harsh attacks on him and his background and his past. And Ben Carson has never attacked anyone. So I think that more than anything surprises me that after all of that, he would come back and endorse Donald Trump tomorrow.
Well, we expect that endorsement to happen in Palm Beach coming up 9 a.m. on Friday morning. Tom, Joy, back to you.
All day today, the Rubio forces have been trying to stamp out speculative reports that Rubio is going to get out of the race before next Tuesday. Did anybody say anything about that?
Because when you look at it, everyone's smiling, laughing.
Yeah. I've talked to several different the analysts and experts and what have you, who, by and large, in this campaign have not been right, but they've also reported what Senator Rubio has said. He told people today, he said, I've not spoken to a single person in a campaign or on this planet about getting out of the race before the Florida primary, which, of course, is Tuesday, Tom.
Kent Justice, Ryan Nobles reporting live for us from Miami and Coral Gables. Guys, thanks so much for your insight.